The night that WrestlePalooza 2025 promised to be unforgettable started as a spectacle that fans had been anticipating for months. A night packed with blockbuster matches, legendary names, shocking returns, and the kind of energy that only WWE can create when the entire universe is watching. But what unfolded went far beyond anyone's expectations, shaking the foundations of storylines and alliances in ways that no one could have predicted. From the very first moments leading up to the pay-per-view, Brock Lesnar, the Beast, had already begun his rampage, leaving chaos in his wake during SmackDown, a series of segments that were as much about theatrical dominance as they were about sending a message to the locker room, a warning that he had returned with lethal intent and no patience for hesitation or weakness. At the same time, Paul Heyman, the strategist and manipulator whose history with Lesnar spans decades, was positioned at the epicenter of tension, his presence alone a harbinger of the shock that was to come. The WWE Universe would soon witness a moment that did not just change one match or one storyline, but fundamentally shifted the balance of power across the entire roster. Picture Seth Rollins, the Vision, standing tall after an arduous, emotionally charged match, the crowd on their feet, chants echoing through the arena, only to have everything he built, every moment of triumph, threatened not by the obvious, destructive force of Lesnar alone, but by the man whose very career had intertwined with both Rollins and Lesnar's destinies, Paul Heyman. Heyman's hand, extended not in aid but in betrayal, whispered the coldest of messages, aligning himself with Lesnar in a move that would ripple through every corner of WWE. Tonight, we examine that seismic moment in detail, the meticulous setup, the backstage machinations, the violence that followed, and the tectonic shift that will change WWE storylines for months, if not years. If you think this was a random act of chaos, you haven't been paying attention to the story being told over years, the subtle cues, the teases, and the backstage narratives that all converged in this one explosive segment. This is wrestling as the epic, serialized drama it truly is, and here on Suplex Saga, we break down every angle, every camera cut, every booking choice, and every ripple that follows, so you understand the story beneath the spectacle. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell because the fallout from this night is only beginning, and missing a single update could leave you behind in understanding what is unfolding in the WWE Universe. In the days leading up to WrestlePalooza, Lesnar reminded the world why he is called the Beast, dominating SmackDown segments with physicality that was as theatrical as it was terrifying, destroying anyone in his path, including members of his announced team and anyone foolish enough to step in front of him. The show's producers tried to frame his outbursts as a warning aimed at John Cena and the rest of the roster, but the real story was far more complex. Cameras captured the destruction, the stunned expressions of the talent, and the sense that something larger, a story that went beyond one feud, was brewing, and fans sensed it immediately, sharing clips and commentary on social media, dissecting every look, every word, and every action. WWE made a strategic decision to put Cena versus Lesnar on the marquee, opening the show on ESPN with a high-stakes, attention-grabbing match that set the tone for chaos, leaving room for additional shocks later in the evening. Lesnar's pre-show rampage served to build fear for his match with Cena, but also telegraphed to the locker room that he was not here to play by the usual rules. He was here to assert dominance, and the timing could not have been more perfect for the events that would unfold later in the night. Understanding Paul Heyman's role requires context. Heyman once guided Lesnar to the pinnacle of WWE success, their relationship long and intertwined, but then paths diverged. Heyman aligned himself with Roman Reigns, appearing to betray Lesnar and tie his fate to the bloodline, a story that has played out over years and captivated audiences with its cinematic tension. In recent SmackDown segments, Lesnar not only made headlines with acts of violence but also sought out Heyman backstage, a fraught and heavily loaded reunion that the cameras, leaks, and observant fans picked up on. Lesnar's social media post, "We should talk," was a simple phrase on the surface, but loaded with decades of history and unresolved conflict. This set the table for a moment that was decades in the making, where Heyman would have to choose a side, and the consequences of that choice would be felt across multiple storylines. Meanwhile, Seth Rollins and his faction, the Vision, had been consolidating influence across both Raw and SmackDown, building a network of allies and a platform of perceived moral high ground. Yet any faction is only as strong as its keystones, and Heyman's presence backstage made it clear that one wrong move could cause everything to collapse. The Vision's prominence and Rollins' control meant that if Heyman decided to betray or realign, it wouldn't just affect one match. It could splinter the entire faction and alter WWE's narrative trajectory. Rumors were rampant online and backstage. Could Heyman reunite with Lesnar, giving the Beast an unexpected fifth ally, or would he execute the ultimate betrayal, taking Rollins down from within? The arena was electric, fans screaming and capturing every moment on their devices. The production team amplified the tension with precise teases, shots of Heyman pacing nervously in the corridors, Lesnar's empty gaze lingering on the monitor, flashbacks to Rollins' previous promos, and slow pans on the ring where the climax would occur, all creating a sense that anything could happen, and the audience was ready to feel the impact of a betrayal they were conditioned to accept. When Rollins' match reached its crescendo, the audience was primed. Rollins performed at the highest level, executing calculated offense, dramatic reversals, and moments designed to manipulate the crowd, reminding everyone why he is a top-tier superstar. As the final bell rang, the opponent down, and Rollins soaking in the spotlight, the backstage cameras cut to Heyman, standing alone, his face betraying 1,000 thoughts, every second loaded with tension. The viewers in the arena and watching at home sensed the pivot coming, a betrayal imminent. Lesnar's approach was deliberate, his entrance teased but never fully revealed until his theme blasted through the arena speakers, instantly transforming the tone from celebration to imminent danger. Lesnar was not there to pose or participate in heroism. He had a mission, and his eyes locked on Rollins conveyed menace in living color, a threat that made the crowd physically recoil. What followed was a sequence of strikes, suplexes, and attacks executed with surgical precision, each blow leaving Rollins more vulnerable, commentators scrambling to explain what was unfolding, while the cameras captured every agonized expression, every moment of suspense, and every critical reaction from Heyman. In a moment that will be replayed endlessly, Lesnar delivered a final F5, leaving Rollins unmoving in the ring, the Beast standing over him, a main event star felled in the most dramatic and unmistakable way. This is the deep dive into Paul Heyman's betrayal, Brock Lesnar's merciless attack, and the implications for Seth Rollins, the Vision. A.